All right. So we're talking about
Spectrum of conviction.
Yeah, right. So we're talking about in your topic sentence, there's various kinds of topic sentences you might have. And since we know that the topic sentence results further down the line in an explanation of the topic sentence as a social phenomenon, versus what most people think, which is the explanation is of the example. And we don't do that because in explaining the example on and on, I don't really learn anything about you except that you know a thing about the example. Whereas when you're explaining yourself or explaining the rest of what you had to say about the point, the topic sentence, I'm seeing into your mind and learning about you, and I can score you for that. Right? Now, you can sometimes run into trouble about sometimes people don't know what to say in their explanation. What do I say about the point? Right? And if you run into that problem, you can use the horizontal vertical trick. It's the video is called How to Audio Thinking in More Sophisticated Ways, the horizontal vertical trick on YouTube. But better, that's kind of like a fallback. But better is, I mentioned in the how to come up with contentions video that your contention should be something that you actually think is the case, think to be true. The reason for that is you'll just need to ask yourself, why do I actually think that? And then that'll be your topic sentences. Whereas when you're trying to come up with like some fancy, in the history of neoliberal capitalism, some fancy contention, because you think that you need to have some unique, interesting, novel idea, you don't. When you write something that you don't actually think or feel, you're in a bit of a pickle now because you've got to come up with thinking of things, reasons, for thinking the thing that you don't actually think. And you're going to have even more trouble later when it comes time for the explanation, because now you got to explain the points that lead
Thing
into
that you don't really think.
and the whole thing just falls over, right? Whereas if you give a contention that is actually something you genuinely feel, and the topic sentences are reasons for thinking that thing, and what I want to specify here is that when I say the topic sentence needs to be something you think and feel, there's a spectrum of things that pertain to that. For example, on one end of the spectrum is just something that you think is logically true. For example, I logically think it's true that liberalism is a more effective political ideology than communism. I don't go around my day thinking about it. And so if you asked me to explain myself, there'd be more cognition required. I'd have to think more about it, generate it, research it, and then maybe I could argue it. Or I could use a horizontal vertical trick and that will order my thinking and that will work. Let's move further down the line. I think that gardening is a good thing to do, right? Now, that's not like a that's not like a conviction of mine, right? But like, I think it. I garden sometimes, like, yeah, this is good. So if you ask me, well, why do you think that? I could explain that without thinking too much. I've got some reason, right? Let's move further down to the line to like a conviction, something I like really strongly believe, right? I think that women abuse men as much as men abuse women, except that a woman won't hit you, she'll destroy your life. Right? And that's a different but a valid kind of abuse. I could talk about that for days and days and days, right? Or I think that the fact that modernity has no positive ideals of its own and exists solely for political, cultural, and economic motives to reject religion and traditionalism is single-handedly the most destructive origin or kernel that is responsible for nearly all or all of the destructive behavior that's going on in the world. I could talk to you about that forever, right? So the point here is that the further down the line, like I remember a couple of years ago, the girl who got 90 was crying when she wrote her task B. I'm not saying you have to have like a deeply held conviction.
That much conviction.
Yeah, I'm simply pointing out to you that the more that you really do think that to be the case, the more when it comes time for the explanation, you're naturally going to be able to, articulate or help me understand that phenomenon that you're mentioning or the topic sense you mentioned in such a way that it becomes intelligible to me, even if I didn't really understand it before. But if you're strictly treating this as an argument to create a syllogism and create something that's logically true, you might come into trouble further down the line with your explanation.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you make your syllogism, like make it as logically sound or coherent as you can, fine. But then you've got to run another lens of pragmatism over it. You've got to imagine if I were to argue this or if I were to explain this, have I picked a topic sentence that has bitten off enough that I've got something to chew? Or am I going to be able to explain this well enough? And if not, you've got to adjust your topic sentence. And that all happens in your plan, which is why once you get your plan right and you get the beginnings right, it has all the positive upstream effect, downstream effects. If you make an error at the beginning, there's pollutes downstream. It's like a flashlight. If you put your hand close to it, it casts a big shadow. Right? So you've got to get the beginnings right. You've got to be pragmatic when you're setting up your plan about, am I going to be able to argue this? Have I got something to say here? Does that now make more sense?
Oh, yeah.
Right, so